Welcome to the channel. My name is Eric Print, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys a special kind of clone that we've only seen really once, but they were pretty good. From the get-go, we see that these guys are wielding Z6 rotary cannons and just working as a unified unit. Now these clones appear to be in gray, however their armor seems to be white that has been scorched. That goes to show that these guys have been through many battles and many losses. Now, when we see them, we hear Commander Doom say that his men are depleted. So that just goes to show that his men have been through some of the toughest things that we haven't seen in the Clone Wars. Alright, so with that being said, let's get to this project. So before I start printing the helmet, I decide to slice it a bit. I make the opening of the helmet a little wider, like just using a sphere to make it wider and cutting it to make it easier to print. I made this in just 2 pieces and I scaled it at 94. However, at this part, I'm not sure if it'll fit. Alright, so this is the first. I have not even put this on, but before I start printing the rest of this, I need to do a test fit. Because if I start this and it turns out it doesn't fit, then that would be a waste of filament. Of course, this would also be a waste already, but let's see. Crossing my fingers. Oh god, yeah, it fits. In fact, it's kind of bigger than I expected. So that means for my cheeks, not bad. See, with the last one, this part right here was a little thicker, and so was this part. And to me personally, that's not bad, but this is the same size as the other helmet. I mean, literally, I scaled it in terms of how wide it is, which was around 151 millimeters. I did that with this, and I figured because of the fact that these layers are not as thick, that it might fit. And sure enough, it is. It's not even snug. So, with that being said, I'm going to move on to the next part, the dome. So I print the dome out, and after that I start sanding the helmet just by hand to remove any layer lines as best as I can. I put glue on the parts that I sliced, and showing off just how much I sanded this thing, prepare to put the other part of the helmet together. Now, the dome warped a bit. Not the dome, but the brow of the helmet. So, because of that, I had to do a lot of repair. But this helmet also came with a different issue. Some of the parts came with holes, and that part you saw, I filled it in later. But for now, I'm just using glazing spot putty right now to help remove any of the layer lines that are on this helmet that are just hard to remove. And I know this method is starting to get phased out a bit with the new SLA light trick, something like that. But this trick is something that I'm used to, so for now, this is how I'm doing things. And using just regular Bondo, I start adding it to the the brow of the helmet and the side right there, just to make it smoother and more workable. Now, working on the brow was definitely tricky. I had to technically sculpt half of it, but in the end, it worked out pretty well. And from there, I just start filling in all the layer lines as best as I can. I gave it a good coat of primer, more spot putty, and sooner or later, it came out just fine. From there, I use matte white Krylon, and it's just a basic paint, nothing too special. From there, I let it cure a little bit and start adding the tape onto this helmet. And just to tell you guys, finding the details on these guys was not too easy. Especially since these guys were only seen in one episode and it was a little dark. And I don't mean that it was dark as in, well, in terms of drama or stuff like that. Just literally, I could barely see. So I started removing all the tape as best as I can, and yes, it turns out that the green line does touch the gray part of the helmet in the back. And just removing all this tape, I just started thinking, this is one of my first animated helmets that I've done in a long time. And it came out pretty well. So this helmet looks pretty good, but now it's time to add all the details, such as the gray that I talked about right now, the black on the aerators, and the vents on the helmet. That is definitely something I like about this helmet. I don't have to paint the vents. They're already there and I just have to fill them in with black. From here, I just print out a piece for the side because I'm not going to add an antenna to a standard clone trooper. And I just super glue it onto the side. I do my best to make it aligned as possible, and yeah, I just start scuffing the helmet from here with just not too high or low sandpaper. This is, I think, 200 grit, so it's not gonna do terrible damage. From there, I start adding some of the weathering that I used before, just black paint and water. The reason is because I broke my airbrush. But I really do like how this came out. It looks really dirty and gritty, so yeah, the old trick does sort of work. From there, I need to add the visor for the helmet, and I just use this sheet from the airbrush and a Hobart face shield. Now, thanks to that, we have ourselves a finished helmet. And this only took 5 months because I was slow. And just looking at it, I'm really glad with the work that I've done to this thing. So as you can see, this helmet, although not the most accurate color, definitely looks like the clones that we've seen before. And I did my best to get this as close as possible, even that line right there where the gray is. But yeah, this helmet did take a while, so I'm very glad that it's at least finally finished, and it's one of the good ones. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm always trying to make new clones, and there's a lot of things I have planned, and even though this is just the 3D printed one, I've already got a good amount of casts ready, so yeah, don't worry, and have a good one.